Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is Summer Storm Over the Paddock. It's a 5x7 and I painted this a couple days ago. I'm real happy with it. I'm happy to share it with you, and I'll tell you the story of the painting. Sorry, we were missing the underpainting stage. I don't know what happened to it because that was like 2 months ago, and it just sat there in my little drying area, and I was pretty happy with the painting. It's quite an interesting scene in that it's based on a photo I took like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago or something now. Yeah, so that would be like 2015, right? And I just like the tree. It had the path actually in it already, unlike a lot of scenes where I just composite a path in. But it had a whole bunch of other stuff going on as well that I didn't like, and quite a lot got changed from the original reference image. Now, if you're in the members area, you can see the reference image come up prior to the live version of the video playing. And if you're busy in the members area, this might be a good one for you because it's about an hour. We did share a live version, and the live that we shared is great to see. It got like 20, 30 views or whatever. That's awesome. And yeah, that's exactly like what the whole members area is full of. But I'm really making a lot of efforts to bring more value to that members area. So if you're a member and you haven't been tipping in that much, a couple things we're going to be doing there is bringing in the transcripts, and I can't bring them right into YouTube's description area, but for YouTube I'll be pasting a link to a spot I have on my website that's just for members to view the transcripts, and that'll be a blog. In addition, I have like a area of Substack now, which is going to be kind of its own version of the members area. But what's cool about that is I can have the transcript, the video, and the reference image all in one post, along with summaries and notes and things. And I think that's going to be really cool. And yeah, I love YouTube, and I have no intentions of leaving YouTube, but it's great to be kind of expanding into another platform as well. And you can join my Substack. I'll make sure there's a link here below this video, and what you'll see actually on my it's duplication of my blog on my website as well, but I think it's good because what's great is that if you subscribe there, actually I was going to say to my mailing list, but I just imported that. But if you subscribe directly through Substack, then you'll get a like summary of everything we just talked about in this video. And let's keep talking. So I know I've been talking about, I got to update you guys on what's going on because it's a lot of work, but there's so many great insights in those live videos. The thing is, they might be like 2 hours, 3 hours long sometimes, and it'll be a while in between the insights, but they're kind of more pertinent and pressing in the sense because they're happening when the painting's happening. So let's talk about what I did in this painting, and thanks for your patience. Appreciate it. I think the gray against the orange is really neat, and probably the best thing about this painting. The trees on the side, I ended up that there's that kind of a bit of a notch where the sky's going in there. I did end up reconciling that at the very end of the painting, so stay tuned for that. I call that Pac-Man syndrome. I had a painting I did about 10 years ago. I really put everything I had into this, and all this stuff's being covered in the new book I'm writing, by the way. The struggle's real, and there's a whole chapter on that too. But anyway, you got to put everything you got into what you do, and it doesn't mean it's going to turn out well. But what is great is if you're always making that premium effort, the best effort you can make, then you have no cause for regret. And also, you just have to work your way through. Landscape painting is not it's not something you can take a pill and just know how to do, or just buy a book. Although pretty soon we'll have an ad for my book, and that'll definitely help you. I've had a lot of good feedback on that. But getting back to the painting, yeah, so I premix. That's also in the members area where I do my color premixes, right? And I didn't do a full color premix, but I had to do a quick one. And um, the interesting is how you transition from, this is not blue in there, by the way, it's Mike's gray, and that's actually another chapter in the new book I'm working on. Gray instead of blue. That's the name of the chapter. And how could I do a whole chapter about that? Well, it's pretty significant because we got the book coming up, but actually we'll just start talking about the book. We'll pick up the blue-gray thing right after the book, because I think I've been shipping out lots of books, and it's great to see you guys taking advantage of it, because I think it's a really great resource. If you like tonal painting, and you like guys like Georgia Ness, and you like my stuff, or John Murphy, it's going to be a good breakdown. Sorry, the dog wants in my office. It's going to be a good breakdown of at least my approach to the tonal process. So check it out. $60 international shipping is included. And hey, I just shipped a book going to the U.S. Yesterday, and the shipping wasn't any higher. So I'm just going to leave it. I don't make a lot on it, but for me, most of that money is going into shipping. You don't want to know, and printing. But I make a little bit, and it's gratifying to get it into your hands. Yeah. So we're coming in with our darks now, and I had a little bit of an issue when doing this painting. It was a little bit of a haze from the lighting, but it looks like in this video that I've overcome that. That's fairly close to how the painting looks. I like the darks to be fairly crisp. Anyway, we'll talk about this gray-blue thing. So you're looking at that, and you're saying, well, that's clearly blue, but it's not. It's Mike's gray, which is a mixture of ivory black and titanium white. Not the super opaque version of titanium white either. The version that you tend to get, unless you're double checking, which is almost always adulterated with zinc. I think that's I can't remember the codes. A PW3 for zinc, or PW3 for titanium white, PW2 for zinc, and then PW1 is lead white, which is an awesome color. I don't really use it anymore, but I was very enamored with it for quite a while. It does a great lot. In fact, if I do figurative stuff, I definitely like to get into lead white. Lead white's got a lot of give. And getting into the Mike's gray thing, so they try and make the most brands of titanium white. If you look at the back and look at the codes, you'll see it's not the pure titanium white, which is very opaque and can make your paintings quite chalky if you don't know what you're doing. So they adulterate it with the zinc white, which gives it some give. The problem with the zinc white is be very careful, especially on canvas. If you're laying that in real thick, it can crack. Yeah. Not too much of a problem for me working on the boards, and I like it for Mike's gray because it has a bit of give. And getting into why I'm using gray instead of blue. So when you shift, so really technically ivory black is in the blue families, and the giveaway is when you add white to it. That's definitely a bluish sort of gray. A cool gray. You have to work to make it warm by adding earth pigments and things like that. But I love to use this technique because it very much emulates what the masters would do. Half of the blue that you're going to see in very old paintings is something like what I've done with the Mike's gray, where it's just a mixture of white and black, and it's giving you a blue feel because of the colors around it. So you could see I have like a warm a streak of warm gray clouds there, and to get that I would have popped in quite a lot of like raw umber and white, and possibly even yellow ochre. And that's one thing I was starting to say earlier. So we're going to transition from this cool grayish tones into the yellow. What I did was a mix intermediate step using like Mars yellow, which is a wonderful color. It's very much like raw sienna, but better because it's more consistent. For one thing, it's more opaque, and it's just a great alternative to the yellow ochre, which I use as well. Now, yellow ochre being more thin, and having more of a tendency to go green as well, which is something I'm always going on about. But depending on your palette, and depending on your palette, a lot of your mixtures could tend to go green. And so that's why I have a couple different yellows there, and I also have another color in my palette called I call it Mike's Red quite often, but it's not. It's Winton Cad Red Hue, and usually I don't use any of the hue colors. Now, if you don't know what a hue color is, it's when they make an impression of a color that's more expensive. Like you'll see Cad Yellow Hue, you'll see Cad Red Hue. And if you didn't know, and you haven't actually painted, maybe if you're starting out, you haven't painted with the actual cadmiums because they're right, so we have a live coming up this Friday, or it's Thursday, it's my Friday, your Thursday, June 12th. Ask Me Anything, and that's from 2 p.m. on Thursday. That's Pacific time, so check it out. Okay, so yeah, I was looking forward to doing this grass in the painting here, and I'm still cleaving to the tonal thing. You might think that could be veering into some fauvism or something, but check out some of Vanessa's stuff. He wasn't afraid to really pull in that high chroma grass, and I think it's a nice complement to the what's going on in the sky. And I want you to also note that I didn't just paint it as one straight bit of bright color. It has some modulation in it, and modulation is another thing I go on about very much in the book that I'm shipping now, and also the newer, more expansive, like text-driven book, that I'm working on. Modulation is so critical, and you want to always take advantage of any opportunity. But here I did a modulation, not just in brightness, but also in hue. And generally that's what you want to do with your modulation, is at least do one or the other, but both is even better. So you make something a little brighter in value, and you also make it a little brighter, or change the hue. So here we modified the hue from more of a green into more of a yellow. Now, I was debating while I was painting this, do I want the brighter bit to be up against the the main mass of trees on our left, or do I want to move it over there? And I decided to move it over to the other side, because I think the eye goes up the path, and we hit that bit of brightness, and then we sort of come back, and we got that tree, we come up and we hover around the sky, and you kind of do a circular thing, and that's very much why I like this sort of composition. Yeah, and I did end up fixing Mr. Pac-Man tree. That's a subtle version of the Pac-Man tree. But once I pointed it out to you, you can't unsee it. But it's quite easy to fix, that sort of thing. And what I was sort of doing here with these trees is I wanted them to almost act like a bit of a stage. So we didn't stay in the tree area too long. In a sense, the subject is almost really the sky itself and the contrast, and that's why I call it Summer Storm. Yeah. Mostly dark in the tree, and I like to keep my trees mostly dark. It's a stylistic thing, and but it just feels right to me. I could have brought in a lot of subtle shades of bark and things in that area, and who knows, if it was a bit larger, I maybe would have done. You do need to always keep in mind what you're doing with the amount of detail you have versus the size you're painting at. That's a real factor. Now here, I wasn't quite sure. The tree in the reference wasn't giving me much. I was thinking, well, I want to bring in some brightness, but I don't want to bring it in too far into my shadowy, my rich, more mysterious areas. Yeah. So yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Just a couple little bits here and there. And also in the back, I did this kind of vertical stroke thing. You can see that. I think that worked very effectively. And that's an area I'm not always happy with how I handle those little back areas. The reference was all over the show. But I ended up just wanting to, basically what you really want to do is you don't want to make it a focal point, but you need to have some variety there. And so I have some textural variety with the brush strokes, and some variety with the colors and hues. And I could have gone more like less chromatic back there, and that's often what you do want to do. But I had such bright chroma with the grass. I think it was pretty effective just to have it warm as it goes back. And we're almost done with this video, but one thing you read in book after book, there we go, fixing Pac-Man. is to always make the distant objects cooler, but that's a rule that tonalism breaks all the time. Anyway, till I come back with another video for your edification and enjoyment, check out that Substack subscribe link there. You'll get the like all the bullet points of what we just talked about here. And until I come back, take good care, stay out of trouble. God bless you and your family.